Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to the live video on the Northern Affinity social media channels. We're on, as ever, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you're watching this live, if anyone's got any questions or anything like any comments, please do feel free to put it to myself or Michelle, who I'm going to introduce in a minute. If you're watching on playback, please again put some comments in, and we'll try to answer it. So today I'm with Michelle Poole. You can probably see on the screen now from Virtual Hand. So Michelle, I won't steal a thunder on what she does, but we're going to talk about time for business owners. I think I'm a small business owner, and I imagine a lot of people watching this are as well. Time is a vital commodity. It's especially, I guess, in these times we're in now at the moment as well, that maybe they've been restricted, and it's so important for people to not just the amount of time they have, but the right time as well. So the times to do the things where you can really add value to your business and to your customers. And we're going to kind of go through all that kind of stuff. So Michelle, I'll hand it over to you, and you can have introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what you do, and then we'll go into some questions. And obviously, if anyone's got any further questions, please let us know.
Thank you, Michael, and thanks for inviting me on today. My name is Michelle from Virtual Hand, and we support business owners, so busy business owners that are lacking in time, wanting some extra support. So we do that in a number of ways. So first of all, we can be your personal PA, so chasing people, checking things out, researching, finding out what's going off, maybe project managing some things for you. And the other side of it is we do marketing, so social media marketing, email marketing, blog writing, proofreading, making sure that message is clear and people can understand it. And now I'm glad you mentioned time, because I'm working with quite a number of businesses at the moment, helping them to manage their time better and not drop the balls. And with, if they've got a lot of clients, which is great, and they want more, but then they're always scared that they're going to forget something or not do something or manage it properly. So I'm working with quite a number of businesses, helping them to focus, plan, decide. We brainstorm, we chat things through, and that's good fun for me, because I do like asking those challenging questions. What are you doing that for? Why? What does that mean? Can I have it in English? That's always a good one. So yeah, supporting business owners really to do more of what they love.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's one thing, I'm sure anyone who's watching this who's run their own business will know, that it's very easy to go down and get lost in a rabbit hole of all the stuff that you can do. There's a million and one things you could do as a business owner, but not the importance of not losing focus on what you do well, I guess, is key. Now, obviously, as for anyone watching this afterwards, we're about 3 months now since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown and all that kind of thing. So for you, Michelle, how's it been, and kind of what effects have you seen, firstly for you, but also potentially, for the customers and clients you work with?
For me, to be perfectly honest, nothing's changed. I work from home anyway. My team all work from their home as well. So we're just continuing to communicate in that way. I think the major difference now is we're not going out. So we're not going out in the car. We're not wasting time traveling, so we're invariably getting more done, to be fair. I just think staying at this seat on this computer, I think, something else is getting bigger, but it's not my fuel. So very much nothing's changed. I'm still getting clients, and that's probably down to those people that are now realizing, okay, if I do want to come out of this better, then I need to put some focus into it. I need some support. And a lot of people are using the time as well to get things in place. So getting processes in place, working out what they want to do, what their market is, and maybe looking at, diversifying to a little bit and seeing what else they can do. So for me personally, my business, it hasn't changed, apart from at home more, which is all right. Yeah. When the sun's shining, but not now.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I think it's one of the things I've seen a lot on various social media, people talking about this is a great chance for people to take stock of their business and kind of understand and improve, I guess, the processes. Is that the reality? Do you think you've seen that from people that have looked at what they can do and how they can do it better?
Yeah, I mean, even someone this morning was saying having that time and space to take stock. They were like, why am I spending money on that? Who authorized that? Where's that money going? So, you know, being able to address everything and reassess those decisions you've made when you've been busy, and you go, right, I'll have that, yeah, we need that. So I think people are using the time very, very effectively, to be fair.
Oh, good. So obviously Virtual Hand is your business, and how did that come about? Why did you start it? And
well, I've been researching it for quite a while, but it's always that thing, isn't it? I'm in a full-time job, well, 2 at the time, not full-time, but 2 part-times. So I was really comfortable, loved my work. But I've been researching it, and it looked really good, and it was quite new. So 9 years ago when I was looking at it, well, 10 years ago, and I lost my job. So it was like, well, I've got to do something. I was quite a late starter. So it was like, well, if I don't do it now, I probably never will. So I just put the wheels in motion, started it. I did get another job for a few months, well, for 9 months. And over that time, I built my business up and then reduced the hours so I could fit in networking and doing all the things that I need and helping my clients that I was getting at that time. So, yeah, I lost my job. So it was a bit of a kick, really. You know, I think there are a lot of people that do take the leap, but I know there's also a lot that get that push, and that's the alternative for them and do not regret it at all, which obviously I don't, because I just love the flexibility, love the freedom. And yeah, I should have done it a long time ago.
I think a lot of people feel like that, and they do it,
Yeah.
absolutely. See, obviously we've kind of touched on your clients and who you work with. Who are the type of businesses that you work with, the type of people you work with, and kind of how do you work with them as well?
I think it's the main question I always ask is, there's loads of people out there that could do with my help or need support in some way from VAs or business support people. But I think the business owner themselves have to be ready to do that, ready to let people in, show them things, allow them access into things, allow them to do the work. So obviously micromanagers aren't that good for us. And again, the VAs come with so many different skills, so much experience, work in very different ways. We always talk about proactive and reactive. You know, are you wanting someone that just jumps when you say jump, or are you wanting someone to come to you with ideas and ways of doing things and perhaps looking at this? So we work obviously online, which is always really good. We use the software that's available for tracking time, tracking tasks, reporting, and communicating, obviously. So we work in all those types of ways, but we can work on site, we can work face to face. It just really depends what the client wants or knows about. Sometimes the client doesn't know what's available and how it could work. So part of our business is to actually educate them about what's available to them and what is a possibility. It's still an education process now with business owners, that we need to tell them that we exist and what we can do for them, how we can help. So looking for business owners that do want to grow, scale their business, that's always a starting point, ready to take somebody on, and is ready to work with someone, have a partnership as opposed to an employee. Because we're business owners, we bring a lot to the table, and our success is very much based on their success. If they don't do well with our help, then we're not going to do well because we're not doing our job well enough. So very much helping them to build their business, really, which helps us to build our business. So it's a win-win in my case. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I think one of the big skills for anyone in business is that being happy to be challenged and be not in a confrontational way, obviously,
Right.
but in a kind of partnership way. And I guess that's probably one of the challenges you have, is that people are working with people who are happy to do that and happy to be given alternatives and asked why they're doing things, I guess.
Yeah, having that discussion really, and being made aware of, or able to be open-minded to say, well, what do you mean? How does that work? What other way could I do it? You know, because I mean, people ask me questions, I go, I've no idea. I've got a whole pool of people I will ask. I'll come back to you and let you know. You know, so everyone has to be open, and I think the majority of entrepreneurs are very open. Yes, they're driven, they know what they want and what they, you know, but they're open to how things can be done, you know, ways of doing things, and open for that conversation if they've got the time.
Absolutely. Do you think there's a bit of a misconception with virtual assistants, that people kind of think, well, the way I work with them is I say, well, here is the number of tasks, these admin tasks that I don't want to do or I don't have the time to do. There you go, and you just kind of get on with it, essentially, rather than kind of the things you've talked about there is kind of make sure that you put better processes in place, not just work within their existing ones.
Yeah, and I suppose that's what we were saying about an employee and a VA, a business owner themselves. With an employee, they very much would be that person that would just take the work and get on with it. And that's not to say that VAs don't do that. There will be a variety of those sort of tasks just to do. Yeah. But I think it's the other things as well, and the extra benefits that we bring, being business owners, looking at that bigger picture, looking forward. Sort of like 3 to 6 months, what are you looking at? Where do you want to go? What do we need to put in place to get there? That sort of thing. So helping them along that journey, as opposed to just doing the here and now and what's next on the list. Right, I'll do that now.
Yeah. Do you find that the people who maybe come to you then are at a certain stage in the business? Now, I appreciate everyone will be slightly different, but they've maybe got it to a point of where it's had a success, and that might be over 3 months, 6 months, or 5 years, but then they just need to get it to the next stage, and that's kind of where you come in. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I would say startups obviously would be great to have the help, but they just don't have the finances. I usually find that businesses that have been in between 3 and 4 years are a good starting point, because they've spent those years learning their trade, knowing what they want to do, knowing where they want to take the business, but also spent that time doing it all as well. And they get to the point where they realize that they can't keep doing it all as much as they may want to be able to grow and get bigger. So they need that help. But, to be able to get that help to actually do what it is they want to do, and know that the other stuff is getting done how they want it to do or better. And I think that's the partnership really that goes in there.
Absolutely. Do you think generally then there's maybe a trigger in something that happens within the business, the reason somebody might start looking at working with someone is not particularly a time point, but something that happens in their business that think, well, I need help?
Yeah, it's usually when they've dropped a ball, and maybe a big one, really. And we usually find in the industry it's when it's too late, really, and they have to sort of like take a few steps back and start again on that movement. So I would always recommend people that if you're looking at growing at any point, is to actually investigate where to get support and try and bring that on either slowly or with small chunks just to get used to it, or know exactly what you're going to be doing. But more often than not, it's when you've realized that you've got too much on, and you've got no weekends, no evenings, you're suffering, your health suffering, that sort of thing. And even now, with being at home all the time, you might think, oh, I've got plenty of time, that's fine. But it's not fine, is it? It's how we use our time and what we use it for. And yes, in the early days, everyone puts hours and hours into a new business, but actually it's not the way forward, or the way you should be thinking that that's what a business owner should be doing. I've always said, running a business doesn't come with a prerequisite of being overwhelmed and underslept and overworked. It really doesn't have to, anyway.
No, absolutely. So you would very much say to people to be proactive with this, and if your business is starting to grow, okay, you might not take someone on today, but start considering what you need to do when you do take them on. I guess is kind of have a bit of a road start conversations with someone like yourself. Would be a useful point 3-6 months in advance, I guess.
Oh, definitely, because we can give them guidance as to what things they can be looking at, what systems they could be putting in place, preparation stuff. So yeah, those conversations are really important, and finding the right VA as well, because we're all so different, so having not lots and lots of conversations, because I don't like a lot of choice, but I think you need to explore what's available. If you're wanting someone local, or whether you would prefer someone that's not local, or whether you want someone in a particular sector with a particular experience and qualifications. So yeah, those conversations are important. And when you find the right person, you may find that you actually want to take them on earlier, because you can see the benefits, and there are huge benefits, obviously.
Yeah, so I can imagine that the relationship between the business owner and the VA that they work with is vital, isn't it? That kind of open, honest, and effective relationship. There's probably no way of defining that. I'm sure there's different ways you work with different people, but a good working relationship, just like you would in any business, will be key to it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely that honesty, that openness, that, you know, ready to discuss. And yes, definitely relationship is really, really important. You know, I mean, if you're a person that likes to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and by 7 is at the desk and hammering it, and you've got a VA that doesn't really come round until about 10, it may not work so well. You know, if you're keen and as mustard into fitness and all the rest of it, and, you know, your VA hates the thought of it, never mind even looking at it, it may not, you know, have the right synergy, might not be able to discuss things, might not be able to, I don't know, value each other, I would probably say, because you've got different values, different ethics. So it is important, and there's quite a lot to discuss there, really, and to find out for yourself what sort of person that you want.
Absolutely. Now, one of the kind of going back to the current situation, it's kind of a lot of unknowns at the moment with what's going on, and I think, but I think one of the things probably most people accept that there's likely to be businesses that are going to have to either not take on more new staff or actually let go of some of their current staff, especially as things like the furlough scheme starts to wind down. Do you think that potentially that might be, I mean, maybe the opportunity is the wrong word, but that any business that's in a kind of an outsourcing type environment, there might be a lot of growth in that area over the next 18 months as people don't want to take the risk of employing people? Do you think that could be potentially how it will go?
Definitely. I mean, I've just been reading the VA survey for this year, actually. And after the last recession, it was exactly the same. There was a boom in VAs. And I mean, at the current time, there's local councils giving you funding to train as a VA. So there's loads of opportunities for that. And it will explode, and then it will die down and settle down, and people realize if it's what they really want to do. But yes, there's lots of opportunities. I mean, I even had a friend of mine that runs a hair clinic, hair salon, and she was looking at getting an outsourced receptionist.
Okay.
Because she's had to lose staff that way. So looking for someone to take the bookings, take the deposits and that type of stuff. And I mean, it's not my bag, but I know someone who does exactly that for salons and that type of thing. And yeah, perfect for her. So yes, I think there'll be more opportunities for people wanting to either bridge that gap to see what happens after a while and calm it down, and then see whether they're going to employ again, or whether just to continue with that relationship, depending on how it's going, really.
Absolutely. Now, obviously, we've all been kind of thrust into using technology more and more over the last few months, and I guess the nature of your work being remotely, do you think, how do you think kind of the world of VAs will move as we go forward? Do you think there will be less of maybe a reliance on where people are based locally and things like that, because Zoom or all of the technologies that we're using might kind of change that landscape a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's two schools of thought on this, that people have realized that they don't need to be sat in an office. One of my clients has given up her office now. So everyone's working at home and it's working perfectly. So why spend the extra resource on that? And then there's the other businesses that are saying, well, I don't want to move into a bigger office. I can now have people working at home and only have teams coming in to do certain projects, or, you know, people coming in shifts. And then there's the other people saying, no, I need that dedicated space. My team need to be together. Otherwise, they'll lose focus. It's not good for their mental health to be always sat at home. So there's lots of schools of thought. But I think the main one will be that there won't be these massive offices. You know, people will either stay where they are or downsize, just so they've got that flexibility to have people in when they need them. And for those people that would prefer to be at home or work better at home or have the facilities at home, have that opportunity and save that time with travel. And, you know, I mean, the reason I took the job was because of flexibility and freedom, being there for the children. You know, a lot of self-employed people will say an employer would not have, you know, let me have the amount of time off I've had and have that flexibility. So it's a no-brainer, really. But now perhaps that is more, you know, that will come better for employers to be able to get the staff that they want and under the terms that the employee wants. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, last question from me, Michelle. If anyone wants to find out more about Virtual Hand or you, what kind of where's the best places to get hold of you and find out more?
Right. Obviously, website virtualhand.co.uk. Email Michelle at. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, obviously, and I'm also on Instagram. So pretty much everywhere, and lots of networking places. So yeah, love to hear from anybody. It's always good to talk.
Absolutely, Michelle. And if anyone, for whatever reason, can't find Michelle, there's a profile of Michelle on our website as well. Or get in contact with me, and I can pass that on. So that's absolutely fine. So thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for your time. Really interesting. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone who's watching. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.